Good morning, School 46 families. This is Dr. DiTullio. I'm going to read you the Kapok tree today. Before I get started, though, I just wanted to talk about this is really different. Trying to do this all remotely. The fact that we're using Classroom Dojo is our only way to communicate with you means a couple of things. One, you're definitely going to be getting more notifications than usual. If that drives you crazy, please go to settings and just turn your notifications off, because I would much rather that you stayed in touch with us and used Dojo but didn't get the notifications than you completely disconnect with us altogether. And kids, I know this is really kind of a weird and maybe scary time for you, but we definitely want you to know that we're here for you. Your School 46 family is still here for you. I know that teachers have been calling families and reaching out through Zoom and through Classroom Dojo to connect with families, because we definitely miss you, and we're all going to get through this. All right, so on Classroom Dojo I did post a document, so I thought it might be fun if we all did a research project together. So as you listen today, you're going to hear the names of some different animals and plants, and so pay attention, because you're going to get some clues to some animals that you might want to do some more research on. All right, so let's get started. This is the Great Kapok Tree. It's written by Lynn Cherry. Two men walked into the forest. Moments before, the forest had been alive with the sound of squawking birds and howling monkeys. Now all was quiet as the creatures watched the two men and wondered why they had come. The larger man stopped and pointed to a kapok tree. Then he left. The smaller man took the axe he carried and struck the tree. Whack, whack, whack. The sounds of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was very hard. Chop, chop, chop. The man wiped off the sweat that ran down his face and neck. Whack, chop, whack, chop. Soon the man grew tired. He sat down to rest at the foot of the great kapok tree. Before he knew it, the heat and hum of the forest had lulled him to sleep. A boa constrictor lived in the kapok tree. He slithered down its trunk to where the man was sleeping. He looked at the gash the axe had made in the tree. Then the huge snake slid very close to the man and hissed in his ear. Signor, this tree is a tree of miracles. It is my home where generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop it down. A bee buzzed in the sleeping man's ear. Signor, my hive is in this kapok tree, and I fly from tree to flower, collecting pollen. In this way, I pollinate the trees and flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another. A troop of monkeys scampered down from the canopy of the kapok tree. They chattered to the sleeping man. Signor, we have seen the ways of men. You chop down one tree, then come back for another and another. The roots of these great trees will wither and die, and there will be nothing left to hold the earth in place. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away, and the forest will become a desert. A toucan, a macaw, and a cock of the rock flew down from the canopy. Signor, squawked the toucan, you must not cut down this tree. We have flown over the rainforest and seen what happens once you begin to chop down the trees. Many people settle on the land. They set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest disappears. Where once there was life and beauty, only black and smoldering ruins remain. A bright and small tree frog crawled along the edge of a leaf. In a squeaky voice, he piped in the man's ear. Signor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives. Many ruined lives. You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down this great Kapok tree. A jaguar had been sleeping along the branch in the middle of the tree. Because his spotted coat blended into the dappled light and shadows of the understory, no one had noticed him. Now he leapt down and padded silently over to the sleeping man. He growled in his ear, "Signor, the kapok tree is home to many birds and animals. If you cut it down, where will I find my dinner?" 4 tree porcupines swung down from branch to branch and whispered to the man, "Signor, do you know what we animals and humans need in order to live? Oxygen. And Signor, do you know what trees produce? Oxygen. If you cut down the forest, you will destroy that which gives us all life." Several anteaters climbed down the kapok tree with their young clinging to their backs. The unstriped anteater said to the sleeping man, "Signor, you are chopping down this tree with no thought to the future, and surely you know what happens tomorrow depends upon what you do today. The big man tells you to chop down a beautiful tree. He does not think of his own children, who tomorrow must live in a world without trees." A 3-toed sloth had begun climbing down from the canopy when the men first appeared. Only now did she reach the ground. Plodding ever so slowly over to the sleeping man, she spoke in her deep and lazy voice. "Signor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy this beauty of the rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes?" A child from the Yanomamo tribe who lived in the rainforest knelt over the sleeping man. He murmured in his ear, "Signor, when you awake, please look upon us all with new eyes." The man awoke with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child, and all around him, staring, were the creatures who depended upon the great kapok tree. What wondrous and rare animals they were. The man looked around and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed like jewels amidst the dark green forest. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air, suspended from the great kapok tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume of their flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor, but he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent. The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree. Suddenly he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the child. He hesitated. Then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest. The end. All right, so I want you to be thinking about the author's purpose for writing this story. And then, as I said, you probably heard a lot of different animals and birds and plants mentioned in this story as well as we were reading. The document that I attached, the Google document that I attached on Classroom Dojo for your parents to access and for you to access, is just a start. It's just a way to get you started. Be creative. If you want to do posters, do posters. I would love for you to upload videos of you presenting any kind of work that you do. If you want to draw a picture, draw a picture. If you want to do a diorama of the rainforest, your parents will know what that is. You'll need a shoebox for that. Absolutely be creative with your projects and jump on there and see what kinds of things you can add. I'm interested to see how much we can do collectively as a school on this and how much we can learn. Because again, this is not normal for us, right? We're usually together in school. So thanks for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you on Classroom Dojo. Bye, everybody.